Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kholihlahla Vuzane. Today we are not videoizing. We are doing the small business update, and we are dealing with update topic 1. Good afternoon. The weather is quite chilly from where I am, and I'm so excited to be part of you again today. And I'm hopeful that this update you will find it much more interesting, and there are quite a number of points that you will benefit from. I think for purposes of today, we just want to follow up on what is happening at the parliament and find out in the portfolio on what are the things that are being discussed there. So of course, this is update topic number 1, which is prepared on the 7th of February 2025, and it discusses the progress on the preparation for appointment of small business ombudsman. I think that has been the main topic in Parliament as to how the ombudsman will work going forward. And in this update session, we will find out more about that. So, of course, this is a Parliament committee on small businesses in Parliament. Background. So the portfolio committee has been looking into creating a small business ombudsman. So this is going to be an office that is created, and I think this is going to be called an office of the ombudsman. All right, and we see this office having certain powers to deal with. And from the background, we can say that it has got a power to issue money orders without really getting into a number of legal battles, a number of legal proceedings, a number of legal instances. Okay, so it's an office that is able to do certain things without really following the rule of law. All right, this is happening after the Minister Abrahams, Minister Stella Abrahams, published an explanatory summary of the National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill. Okay, so which is the most recent bill that has been sent to Parliament, and that bill seeks to amend the current law into the provisions of the small business ombudsman. All right, and it looks like the ombudsman is going to deal with all issues related to small businesses. And I think the crux here is that there has been a far cry from most small businesses that their businesses collapses because government entities and most government institutions don't pay them on time. So the aim here is to make sure that small businesses, they are paid on time. I think the biggest issue here is that you remember that small businesses are very small and thin in terms of resources and capitalization, and they don't have enough resources to deal and fight government. And government entities and government departments can be really arrogant. I know from experience, and small businesses are not paid for a considerable amount of time. And this institution, the Office of the Ombudsman, is meant to help them to be paid on time and to be paid the amount that is owed to them without these companies having to collapse. What we also see here is that even though that is the crux of opening this office, it looks like there are other instances that will be dealt with by this ombudsman, but we are not sure as yet what exactly, other than fighting for small business payments, what else they will have to do. But we see from the original bill that the Office of the Ombudsman will be able to deal with two things: the contractual obligations and other legal relationships. We don't know what is these other legal relationships are, but as we watch the Parliament Committee, I think we will be able to get or to a certain information as to what that is. All right. So with this relationship, we envisage that there are three things that are gonna be built into these two relationships. That is the contractual relationship and the other relationships. So three things there. We see that it will deal with the instances of unfairness. I think when there is a clear indication that a small businesses has been treated unfairly there, and an instance where it is clear that the government or an organ of the state is abusing or unjustifiably exercises its power in an unfair or improper way, in which that conduct causes a delay in some of the things that are expected by the small businesses there. All right. Number three, I think the ombudsman will also look on how the practice is. In other words, the way in which businesses, government departments, or organs of state deal with small businesses, how fair the practices are, and if the small businesses are not treated unfairly and unlawfully there, or by means of an improper prejudice. Okay. So it looks like there's going to be a process of dealing with all of these, where in my observation, in my envisaging, is that maybe when you want to lodge a complaint with the office of the ombudsman, you will be requested to select one of the three instances, so that these are channeled through relevant departments within the office of the ombudsman. Now, once you complain, I think the administrative law is going to come into play here very much so, because I understand that you must show that you have done reasonable amount of conduct with regards to your invoice with that particular entity before you can lodge a complaint. Because my understanding of this process is that you will have to prove that with the respective entity you have done so much to get your money, and all your request had been ignored. So once you complain with the office of the ombudsman, then the ombudsman looked at your case and upholds your case, and then that institution will not only be expected to pay the original invoice. Perhaps you might be paid the original invoice, but some of the money that is in excess of the original invoice might be paid to the office of the ombudsman. But we will see how the situation will unfold. So far, this is just a sketch of what we should expect, and I'm trying by all means to vision what's gonna happen here. All right. The second part of the update deals with the draft National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill, which has been approved for the introduction to the Parliament. The Parliament has now looked at this amendment bill. Okay, the Cabinet has approved that it can be sent to Parliament for consideration. So the bill has got one aim, that is to amend the National Small Enterprise Act number 102 of 1996. And with that amendment, we know that that amendment encompasses the establishment and the registration of the Office of the Small Enterprise Ombudsman. This is a process that has been started for some time now, and I think it's getting to an end. Although we will see in the update that it looks like there are glitches in getting the product into finality. Okay, so the aim is to give attention to small businesses and I think is to give them a voice on what they should do on cases where their amounts remain outstanding for a number of time, because uh, that can be really problematic, because if you supply to government and you are not paid on time, it means that all your efforts would have went to drain there, and you won't have resources to catch up with what you have supplied. Okay. So the purpose of the bill is to make sure that there is some form of stability in the sector, and to make sure that there is, because of there is this empire now who will help small businesses to be paid. um, I think government envisages a situation where jobs first will be protected because there's money to pay the people, and also there will be new job opportunities that might be created because businesses have got money. So that's the thinking around this. And of course, the Office of the Ombudsman will have powers and functions. They will be able to receive complaints from small businesses. I wonder if the government departments will be able to complain with the Office of the Ombudsman, or it's only one way around. That is, uh, it will only encompass the it will only encompass the small businesses only. I'm not sure how that will work. But from looking from the bill itself, it looked like it's only catering for small businesses. So there will be allocation of powers and functions of the ombudsman to say this is what an ombudsman can do, this is what an ombudsman cannot do. My experience in dealing with ombudsman, you really need quite a number of qualified and people who understand issues in the office, because these issues sometimes would look like as if they are small, but when you scratch them, you realize that the issue is bigger than that. Then there's going to be prescription of cases, and there's going to be jurisdiction and investigation. I'm not sure there, because the ombudsman will be one main South African office, so I'm not sure when they are talking about jurisdiction there. Okay, then there are going to be determinations by the Office of Ombudsman. I think the determinations will mean that the Office of the Ombudsman could either uphold the case or disallow the case. Okay, and of course, we're expecting some form of delegation by the Office of the Ombudsman. So there is going to be staff members there who will be doing the work, but the ombudsman will sign off their work. So there's also going to be the deputy ombudsman and the director in the office of the ombudsman. I'm not expecting one director in the office of the ombudsman. I'm expecting at least 4 directors there at the looking at the structure of the complaints there. So I'm hoping that that office will be designed carefully there and logically to meet its objectives. If we look on what happened in Parliament, and the portfolio committee proceedings that happened on the 29th, there isn't much we can write home about, but I think it's nice to mention that the objective of those proceedings were to finalize the appointment of the ombudsman. And also, if you remember, there was a huge outbreak of small spaza poisoning in South Africa, especially in the north of the country. So, so part 2, besides from the appointment of the ombudsman, also there was a thought that the committee would want to go and visit those spaza shops and perhaps the families of those people that had suffered spaza shop poisoning. I'm hoping that there is going to be a definition of what is a small business. I mean, what is a spaza shop? We don't know what is a spaza shop, and perhaps as we continue with our updates, we will find out what that spaza shop is and how is it defined and how it can be identified. Late last year, the president made some pronouncement where he also wanted municipalities to register spaza shops, and there were also other interventions that were put in place to make sure that these spaza shops comply with the law. I'm not sure how that is going to happen, because looking at the education of the people who are in that informal segment, most of them do not understand the prescriptions of the law. Besides the spaza shops, there was also thought that the consideration must be given to cooperatives, because there was a feeling that cooperatives are not given attention into the mainstream there. All right. The other obvious stuff is that the portfolio committee wanted to make considerations about the third quarter performance report by the two departments, that is the Department of Small Business Development and the Small Enterprise Development Finance Agency. Okay, so those are the two entities that report to the portfolio committee. Okay, that one we've already dealt with. The spaza shop poisoning, the committee is looking into that as well. So the committee does state here that the procedure for processing the appointment of the ombudsman started as early as November last year, and it is still running. Okay. However, there has been a number of issues in the committee. I think what they are considering to do, they are considering to have a joint meeting with the Select Committee on Economic Development and Trade. The purpose for that is to receive a briefing on the progress and the restoration of spaza shops. You will remember that this process of spaza shop caught municipalities off guard, looking on the, because I don't think they had a department that was meant specifically for that, and because of this, there were a number of things that needed to be realigned within the municipalities. And because this was done very quickly, people were complaining that the municipalities were not ready. They didn't even know what documents they need to bring and submit. Even though they were asked to submit certain documents, they later realized that those documents were in fact not complete and were asked to bring other documents. I know that is very frustrating. It can be very frustrating. You are asked to bring a proof of residence and your ID, you bring those things, then you are asked later on to bring a marriage certificate, then you bring that, then you are asked to bring a FICA document. The process is not working very well. So people were complaining about that there, to say these issues are really harming them financially, because they need to wake up very early, they need to travel to town, they need to go to town more than 4 times a day, because they want their things to be sorted out so that they can deal with other issues. And the process just did not make it possible for them to do that. I'm not sure about this, but it looks like the committee will also receive a briefing on the progress on the issue of Viaquilin Holdings Pty Ltd trading as DY Depot Kuruman, which had emanated from the Northern Cape oversight visit. We are still trying to get into touch with our teams on the ground to find out what this issue is all about and why this issue was brought to the portfolio committee. But it looks like this is something that came about when the committee was in the Northern Cape, but we are not sure about the facts about what really transpired there. All right. The committee also considered that perhaps it is not possible to make a meaningful intervention on the registration of spaza shops and to oversee the progress thereto without consulting also with the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, okay, COGTA, considering that the municipalities that handle the registration process affiliate within COGTA premises. And I think it was a reasonable attempt for them to consider that. I think also the municipality forum also, I think, must have been consulted there. All right. We did not hear from the Small Business Institute if they were asked to say something about this. I remember an article in one of the newspapers by the CEO of the Business Institute there talking about this situation, if I remember very well, about the spaza shop poisoning there. All right. So those are the issues that the committee is looking at, and they feel that these issues are necessary to advance the interest of small businesses there. All right. The other issue is that there was a concern that even though there are initiatives to offer assets for small businesses, for them to trade properly, it looked like the committee was concerned that there were challenges with the online application, whether the system was not working well or not. All right, here. So this is what we see that the committee will also look in that online application process. Yeah, but I think here what the Small Business Development Agency would want to look at, as small business practitioners of South Africa, we don't think that it's a wise decision to give small businesses assets without first ensuring that they are properly trained on how to account and to safeguard assets. I don't think it's from where we stand, we believe that at least people must also produce some form of certificate to say we also obtain this certificate to ensure that we are able to deal with assets, and SIDA should also approach small businesses, small business practitioners of South Africa to assist their clients with asset management there. Okay, because SIDA wants to make sure that the assets are working effectively and they are working for the intended purpose. Okay, so small business practitioners can do that in ensuring that they help the small business development agency clients in making sure that those assets are working well. And also, one of the problems the committee has pointed out was that the advert for the ombudsman looked like it was only issued in English, yet according to their resolutions, the agreement was that the what you call the advert should have been issued in or translated into the 11 official languages. It looked like that did not happen. I'm not sure whether that will mean that the process is going to be kick-started again, or it will be left as it is. So it's not clear, but it looks like some members of the committee feel like it's still okay to to continue with that advert being in English there. All right. Then the committee also considered the minutes of the 4th of December. Okay, we are not privy to that, so we don't know what happened there because we started our updates today. All right, so that's how far we are, and the minutes were moved for adoption by that parliament, that honorable member, and it was seconded by that honorable member, which summarizes the first update topic. Number one, hopefully we will be able to come up with another update. I just want to warn you that these updates are not necessarily connected to one another. But of course, we know now that there is a process of ombudsman office that is being created, and the number of issues. We're going to track these issues to find out we don't miss them, to ensure that we don't miss them. But as updates continue, we will be able to share those updates with you. I hope you have taken note of those updates and you have looked into how these updates will really help your business to move forward, and for you and also for you to deal with your CPD. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. My name is Kholi Tlatlavuzane, and it was really nice to be with you. See you also in the next update.